If your business gets bigger, but your life gets worse, that is not success. Daniel Priestley said that, and I think about it constantly. A lot of really incredibly capable people hit their revenue goals all the time, and they're completely miserable. Not all of them, but some of them. They're working 60-hour weeks, delivering offers that drain every ounce of energy they have, and building businesses that technically work on paper, but lead them further and further away from the life that they actually want to be living. The reason this keeps happening is a design problem. The myth that big goals require big sacrifice. This is so embedded in business culture that most people never stop to question it. They pick a side, the goals or the lifestyle, but then feel guilty about whichever one they're not prioritizing. So today we're digging into the lifestyle first philosophy, and I'm sharing two diagnostic frameworks that will help you spot exactly where your business model might be broken. I have covered the full step-by-step lifestyle first business model design process in a ton of other episodes. I'm going to link to a few of those below, but today is about the big picture and the two tools I keep coming back to again and again for myself and with clients to really answer the question, is it possible to have big business goals without blowing up your life to achieve them? The story goes a little something like this. Big goals require big sacrifice. If you want 7 figures, a full client roster, a real visibility, something has to give. Usually it's your life. The flip side of that is the same myth. If you want to work fewer hours, take real time off, and actually enjoy your days, you're being unrealistic about also wanting growth. You're playing small. You're not serious enough. The false choice sits at the center of most of business culture. You can have the goals or the lifestyle. Most people never even question it. They just start optimizing for one side or the other and just accept the trade-offs. And it makes sense that we've absorbed this as a template. The most visible success stories, the ones that are held up as proof, almost always include a sacrifice narrative. The grind years, the 80-hour weeks, the I gave up everything to build this. The entire language of ambition frames rest and boundaries as liabilities. The sneakiest part about this myth, though, is that it maps onto real experiences. Most people I know have had a season where growth felt like it cost them something. Time, rest, relationships, health. So the myth feels true. It's proven to be true. The problem isn't the experience, it's the conclusion that we draw from it, that the sacrifice was the reason for the growth instead of a flaw in the model. The myth assumes that sacrifice is the mechanism for growth. Correlation, though, isn't causation, and people who build big businesses while grinding didn't grow because of the sacrifice. They grew in spite of a model that was costing them more than it needed to. If you strip out the inefficiency and you don't need the suffering, the Daniel Priestley quote is worth coming back to here. If your business gets bigger, but your life gets worse, that is not success. That is a design problem. A business that scales by consuming your life isn't a successful business. It is a badly built one. The data backs this up too. So a 2025 survey of solopreneurs and small business owners published in Inc. magazine found that nearly a quarter work more than 50 hours a week, and over 80 lose sleep worrying about their business, and about a third have missed important family events because of work. I'm going to link the full article in the show notes, but we have normalized this and we really shouldn't have. Some of the most constraint-driven entrepreneurs have been proving this for decades. Women with caregiving responsibilities, limited hours, and zero margin for waste have built genuinely significant businesses. Constraints have forced better design, and fewer hours meant that only the highest leverage moves made the cut. That's the strategy, right? The myth only holds if you accept the default model. The traditional way of hitting big goals requires sacrifice because the traditional model is built on volume and availability. Change the model and the math changes completely. Big goals require a smarter container, not more of you. The problem isn't always the goals. It's usually the order of operations. Most people start with a revenue target, then they build the business model around hitting it, and then they try to squeeze their life into whatever is left. It's a design flaw. Your lifestyle becomes the afterthought instead of the foundation. The alternative, what I think is the better alternative, is to flip the sequence. So let's start with your lifestyle constraints, your real non-negotiables, then your vision, then we design the business business model around both of them. Your lifestyle is the container that your business model gets built inside of. This is the foundation of the lifestyle first business model design process. And like I mentioned, I've done a full series and I'm going to link that below because it's worth going deep on. But the core principle is simple. Your life informs the model. The model doesn't consume your life. And while this isn't some magical formula that I am like shilling over here, there's always trade-offs in business. The real difference though between unconscious sacrifice and where your life erodes without you consciously choosing it, and conscious constraints that you've built your business around intentionally. One of them depletes you, and the other makes your business more focused, more sustainable, and more profitable. Knowing your constraints is a design input. The clearer you are on what you won't compromise, what you can't compromise on, the sharper your business model is going to be. Today, I want to show you what this looks like across 3 specific areas: your boundaries and constraints, your offers and pricing, and your content and marketing systems. These are the 3 places where the lifestyle first business model philosophy either shows up in your business or gets completely overridden by it. The first area where the lifestyle first philosophy either holds or fails is your boundaries and constraints. Most people treat boundaries like personal preference, right? Something nice to have if you can afford it, but in a lifestyle first business model, they're a design input. That's how businesses get built. Parkinson's law is the psychological principle at play here. Work expands to fill the time available for it. So if you have unlimited hours, you will fill them, not necessarily with your highest value work, but with whatever feels urgent. Constraints force prioritization, but in a way that total freedom never could. And this is where the Life Constraints Viability Triangle comes in. The 3 points here are your energy, your time available, and your priorities. All 3 need to be in conversation with each other when you're designing your business model. Time available is the most obvious one. How many hours do you actually have available for your business each week or each day? And I actually mean that you have, not aspirationally once things have calmed down or on your best days. This number is your ceiling. The business model has to be deliverable within it. Energy is the one people underestimate the most. You might have 30 hours available on paper, but if 20 of those fall at the end of the day when your brain is completely fried, you don't really have 30 productive hours. You have to factor in when your energy peaks and what activities drain it the fastest, and how much recovery time you need. A business model that ignores your energy landscape will exhaust you even when you're technically working reasonable hours. Priorities are the non-negotiables, the things that your business model must honor regardless of revenue goals or growth phases. School pickups, health appointments, workout windows, protected family time. These aren't limitations to apologize for. They're the design requirements. The triangle works because it shows where the imbalance is, right? If you have big revenue requirements but very limited time available, your offers and pricing have to do more of the heavy lifting. If your energy is heavily constrained by health or caregiving, your delivery model needs to reflect that. And if your priorities are non-negotiable, your capacity ceiling is lower than you might think, and your business model needs to be adjusted to work inside it. Running your model through all 3 points before you design anything else will save you enormous amount of time, energy, and frustration down the road. What is worth knowing is that even artificial constraints work. So I technically can work whenever I want, but theme days and time blocking give me a structure that has helped me get a lot more done in as little time as possible. That leftover time gets spent with family, taking care of myself, pursuing way too many hobbies. Constraints you choose are just as powerful as the ones that life hands you. So a 4-hour focused work block produces more output than any open-ended day could. A client cap forces you to charge more and deliver better. Saying no becomes a revenue strategy. Every yes to the wrong client, the wrong offer, or the wrong project is a no to something you actually want and something that actually fits. When you know your real capacity and you design around it, you start making decisions that protect both your profit margin and your energy at the same time. So one of my clients, this is a really good example, one of my clients is a coach and a mom of 2 young kids, and she has a hard stop at 2 p.m. every day. So instead of treating that initially like she did as a huge limitation for her revenue, we designed her entire business model and offer suite around it: premium pricing, a capped number of clients per month, and a group program that leveraged her time. Within a year, she hit her highest revenue month ever, and the constraint didn't shrink the business, it forced the decisions that actually allowed it to grow. The second area where lifestyle first design either shows up or gets overridden is your offers and pricing. And this is one of the most practical places to look because the misalignment here is usually hiding right in plain sight. Most people design their offers first and figure out their pricing after, right? Or they look at what others in their space are charging and anchor their prices there. Both approaches, though, skip the most important question. Can this offer structure actually generate the revenue goal within the hours you have available? This is where the viability triangle comes in. The 3 points are your revenue goal, your offer structure, and your pricing. All three have to support each other. Pull any one of those out of alignment and the whole model breaks, and no amount of marketing can fix a math problem. Here's what this looks like in practice. So a client came to me with a clear revenue goal and a suite of lower priced offers. When we ran the actual math, how many sales at that price point and how many hours she needed to deliver it, she could not hit her goal. Not unlikely, physically impossible. The hours did not exist. The instinct in that moment is to double down on marketing, to sell more, show up more, post more. But the problem was the model, and it was broken in her case, right? Like we couldn't solve for it. So we worked the triangle. We looked at what shifting her offer structure would do. We looked at adjusting her pricing and looked at what that would make possible. We found the combination where the revenue goal was achievable within her actual capacity. Then the marketing had something worth doing. The question to ask yourself here is simple. If you run the actual math on your current model right now, does it work? Is it possible? If you hit your conversion goals, sold what you're planning to sell at the prices you're planning on charging, and delivered everything you promised, would you reach your revenue goal within the hours you have available? If the answer is no, that is a triangle problem, a viability problem. Specifically, it's one of 3 things. Your revenue goal is higher than your current model can support. 2, your offer structure requires more hours to deliver than you actually have. Or 3, your pricing is too low to make the math work within your capacity. Usually what I've found is that it's a combination of all 3 or 2 of the 3. The fix here is to work the triangle until all 3 points align. That might mean shifting from one-to-one to group delivery so you can serve more people in the same hours. Or it might mean fewer clients at a higher price point. Either way, you're designing for the revenue goal and your life at the same time. The goal isn't just to water down your ambition, it's to build an offer structure that can actually carry it. The third area is your content systems and how you generate traffic, leads, and sales. And there's a persistent myth here worth addressing, like right out of the gate, right? If you build content systems and leverage, the work becomes passive. That's the math. It doesn't. So it just changes where the work lives. So instead of one-to-one delivery, the work moves into visibility, traffic, and lead generation. You're still working. You're working just as many hours. You're just working differently. So the question becomes, does your content and marketing system actually fit your life? Because if it doesn't, you won't stick with it long enough to ever see results. And that's where the marketing viability triangle comes in. So the 3 points are your content, your capacity, and your preferences. And all 3 have to be in alignment for your marketing system to work long term. Most people build their content strategy around what they think they're supposed to be doing and then wonder why they keep burning out and starting over. Capacity is how much time and energy you actually have available for content creation and marketing. This ties back to that Life Constraints Viability Triangle from Area 1. Your content systems have to fit inside the hours you have available at the time of day when your energy supports that kind of work. Content is what you're actually creating and where you're showing up. Your platform, your format, your publishing frequency all have to be deliverable within that capacity. A daily content strategy sounds great until it collides with a 15-hour max work week. So preference is the point that most people overlook. And it matters, I think, just as much or more than the other 2 because you have to show up before the results do. You're building momentum before you can ever see any results. A system that you dread will never outlast your motivation. A client came to me completely exhausted from Instagram. She felt like she, as she said, was on the hamster wheel, right? Cliches are cliches for a reason. So daily stories, reels, constant restarts on Monday because she burned out every 48 hours. She was building zero momentum because the system was completely incompatible with how she functions. So we rebuilt her strategy around paid ads instead, where the heavy lifting happens once and then runs. That was the trade-off she was willing to make with her time and budget. She got consistency without the daily performance tax. Your content strategy has to work on all three levels. It has to fit your capacity, has to play to your preferences, and it needs to be sustainable enough that you'll stick with it even when the results are still coming, right? They haven't shown up yet. Pull any one of these out of alignment and you end up back at square one every few months wondering why nothing works for you. Your business is a part of your life. A content strategy that requires you to spend hours and hours doing something that drains you isn't protecting that lifestyle, it's undermining it. If this episode has you looking at your business model with different eyes, there are two ways to take this further depending on where you are right now. The first is the free Lifestyle First business model template. That's going to walk you through the exact process of designing a business model around your real life, including your capacity constraints, your revenue requirements, and your non-negotiables. It is like what I consider the foundational document that I use with every single client before we do anything else. I'll drop the link in the description so you can grab it there if you haven't already. The second option is to do the work together. Your signature scaling system is a 3 or 12-month consulting partnership where we take everything that we've covered today and build it out for your specific business, your specific life, your specific revenue goals. We run the triangle math together. We redesign your offer structure. We build a content and marketing system that actually fits your capacity. And with ongoing guidance and real accountability between sessions, the work actually gets done and the results actually follow. If that sounds like what you need right now, I want you to book a free strategy call at yourcontentempire.com/coaching or find the link in the show notes. We're going to look at where you are, where you want to go, and figure out what working together could look like. Building a lifestyle first business is a deliberate choice. It requires you to get really, really honest about your real capacity, do the actual math, and push back against a business culture that has romanticized sacrifice for a very long time. Your constraints are real. Your non-negotiables are completely valid, and a business model built around your actual life is not the safe and cautious version of success. It's the most strategic version of it. So run your triangles, name your constraints, build the model that fits the life you actually want.